everyone, good evening and whatever time of day it is. This is Champ Megahorse and welcome to round 6 of Division 1 of the Swemp Electronics Football Alliance. You can see here the results from the other day. Generally, a bit of a mixed bag actually, not so much better for home or away, leading to the league table, showing the early pace going to East Coast with Hulls and Badgers just behind, and unfortunately, Imaginary Madrid and Flamingos both left languishing with a goal but no points. For today's fixtures, you can see there's some absolute classics. The top of the table clash between Badgers and Hulls. A real relegation, well, I would say 6-pointer, but they haven't got 6 points between them, between Flamingos and Racers, and the mid-table clash between a team expected to challenge Trafford and the mid-table side who are performing a bit above their station at the moment, Ewan Rovers. I am joined tonight by Mr. Vladimir Lenin, also known as Man Youngish, and also known as Duggan. Good evening.
Big fat red salute to you, mate. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, I'm good. I'm a couple of beers deep, so hopefully this will be a good crack.
And it sounds like I am already, doesn't it? So
absolutely.
We can see some quality games ahead, but just as we had the other week with another of our managers, there's been some questions sent in for you today, and these ones come from a journalist, Don Nimble. So he says he's been speaking to a manager in the league who off the record suggested that selecting a weaker squad is purely a pre-packaged excuse for a manager who clearly doesn't believe that he can win. What is your opinion on these views?
I think people, well, for me, opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got them and they all fucking stink. So wind your neck in and just focus on yourself, mate. That's what I would say. And if you don't like it, there's a lovely, warm, cozy spot in the gulag for you.
It's that's certainly going to be a provoked reaction there, definitely. And ... Do you have a response to the rumours circulating that Communist Party officials are unhappy with you suggesting that your Soviet players are not the finest in the world?
Well, I've just executed 13 of them, and I think that at least 11 of them were the bastards that put that question in. So 2 of them were unlucky, and obviously the other 2 that I've got wrong, I'll find them and I'll kill them.
Well, definitive answers, and we're ready for some action. So let's see what comes up first today. And we're beginning with Fortuna Deflection, who in their last match were, I don't know, I would say unlucky. It was very, very even game up against Ewan Rovers, that surprise package we were talking about there, with a Kim Shellstrom goal. They missed a penalty, Blinkhorn, but they've been impressive with David Day in goal. He certainly kept them in the games recently, but only 1 goal in the last 4 games and 3 blanks in a row. What do you think about their lineup for today?
Obviously, anybody that's kind of played the game knows that Mason Yavan and David Collins are absolutely top quality. Myself, I prefer David Collins as an EMC, preferably behind two strikers up top. I think Nicky Frank going back playing centre mid is probably a little bit too much in terms of the defensive work and track and runners of the opponents. Also, I think 4-1-3-2 with no arrows on the wing backs is a little bit odd, but I do really like Ibrahim Saeed as a DMC, as I'm sure many people do. But for me, I think if you're going to play back and Nicky Ferenko, you've probably got to have one of them as an EMC behind 2 strikers, or you push back or Nicky Ferenko up with Collins as an EMC.
Some good tactical advice there, definitely. You know me, I'm a big fan of Ibrahim Saeed as well. But for me, it'll be that. The run straight up to the strikers. I will mention that in every single show, and I do not.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It was a tactical decision from Quinton Fortuna this week to drop the runs off the fullbacks. And I think it's got Phoenix in mind with what they're going for. Obviously looking for a goal. They've pushed Collins up front to make it 2 up front for a change because they've played 1 and not scored recently. So that's the thinking behind that. they've obviously got Jurgen Kohler with his defensive prowess, who, the defense has been pretty solid at the moment. It's just the attack that's not been working.
Interestingly, David Day, I've never had him on a save. He's not a player I'm familiar with. So yeah, I mean, those stats look more than great. But yeah.
Yeah, he does a good job, and it's certainly some good performances there this season for the team. He's kept them in a lot of games. So they're ready for the game, and they're up against Phoenix, who they have made a few changes to their lineup today, and in change to that formation that brought them some early season success.
Yeah, again, 4-1-3-2, really solid. Lizarazu and Cafu, love the fact that they're bombing forward. I think it could be a little bit too much to handle for Fortuna. Got massive issues with Batistuta at the moment for anybody that follows the Super League. And also Zidane, he's never really a player that's done it for me on any save really, but you cannot knock the quality. I mean, from a purely CCCP point of view, I want to introduce a little bit of well done. You've picked the best players on the game bingo tonight, Mega Horse. So what I want to say to you is for every player that is absolutely predictable in this position, in any position, that team loses a point at the end of the season. So Ryan, I think you're a top bloke, mate, but I think you're definitely in line for relegation with the amount of absolutely nailed on obvious picks that you've picked here. So you get a 0 for creativity, but I think you're gonna have the win tonight against Fortuna.
Does he get any credibility for having a squad of entirely over 29-year-old players?
Is that the thread? Is that the thread that runs through it? Right. Okay. And is that because he's got a kind of 29-year-old fetish or anything? Has he disclosed that? Or
there's unconfirmed rumours about that.
The league is awash with rumours at the moment, so I'll not hold them to that.
It's a late change. Paolo Maldini was originally named in the starting lineup until they realised that his groin muscle was not going to recover in time for the game. So
that's a big miss.
Lizarazu back in to the lineup. Last time out, a defeat to Badgers, who we know that they've really been impressing this season.
Yeah, they have, and I think Phoenix were one of the sides I was looking at, along with East Coast, in terms. Have we got a ghost game?
Straight away with a ghost game tonight. Yeah,
right.
We'll look forward to that one later on, won't we? Anyway.
Wow. Well, I'm going to go Phoenix. Phoenix 4-2 on that one.
Phoenix 4-2. You heard it here first. And if it doesn't happen, that will be the result that maybe goes into the record books for today. Flamingos remain unchanged for today, following their close 4-0 defeat to Hulls. Clayton didn't necessarily perform. He's kept his place despite being unfit for the game. What do you make of this thing?
Listen, if anybody deserves to be top of the league based on purely batshit crazy team selection, the Flamingos are my pick for the championship, all right? other than the Danglies, up the fucking Danglies. So Flamingos, love the team selection, love the absolutely batshit crazy tactics you've picked here, with diagonal arrows on wingers, which is amazing. So yeah, listen, if I had to pick a league winner, it would be you, mate. Fair play to you.
We do like the Flamingos as a concept, don't we? Here, all players to begin with under 17s. By the end of the season, I think 1 or 2 players will probably touch 18 for that. Not literally, but the formation, the credit. Alan Finette has decided to go with this formation again. It was picked on Tuesday night's games by Quinton Fortuna of Fortuna Deflection, going for something a bit different this week, and it's being kept with because it wasn't an absolute embarrassment from
listen. Finette is the man that started it all for many of us. He's kind of like everybody's great grandfather on Twitter, champ. So listen, yeah, if anybody can pull it off, it's him.
Exactly. Yep. Very, very apt words there. Fantastic. They're up against the Racers, and this Welsh team selection. You know the manager well. What do you think about it?
Creative again, kind of. I think he gets a lot of points for kind of having a theme running through it and trying to think a little bit outside the box. I think they'll get the win tonight, and I think if they don't, I think #Hopkins out will be trending on Twitter as well. But only in Wales, in a very specific community of Wales of the Racers fans. You'd like to think. See, I quite like John Hartson on a home save. Always comes up as wanting to leave Celtic, and I quite like him as a central striker by himself, with some width, bombing some crosses in there. Maybe the likes of a Mike Duff or a Robin on the wing, and he does really well for me. And you get him dirt cheap as well on a home save. So I like Hodgson up there, and Giggs in the centre of a 4-1-3-2 is probably a little bit bizarre, but he's good enough to put in solid kind of eights and stuff wherever he plays, but he hasn't done that yet. So Ryan Giggs to put in the first performance of the season tonight, I think.
Well, yeah, some good choices there. I mean, think about Hartson as a solo striker. Craig Bellamy, a different kind of player up front with him. Maybe if he was a bit further back or something. I'm not one to talk. My own team has got no points this season, so I can't really.
Bellamy is absolutely amazing on 0.68, and I think this is 0.60. Is that right?
It is original, yeah.
Yeah. So Bellamy is 5 times the player on 0.68, and he is on 0.60. He's up there with some absolutely outstanding players on 0.68. But yeah, I like him in 0.60. If you get the coaching right and he comes on well and you play him in the right position, he turns into a bit of a beast. So yeah.
Well, Chris Coleman for me. He's the beast of this team. He's he scored their opening goal this season, I think. He's the player that obviously without his injury, he's a very, very capable player. Let's hope this one's not a ghost game as well. We're into a match. Perfect.
There we go.
Trond Magne Hansen refereeing. Obviously, in midweek, one referee managed to turn up at 2 games at the same time. That was a
fantastic.
Good one. Let's see if it happens again tonight.
And obviously, he's related to Steve Wright if his name has got the middle name of Magna in the middle. So I'm going to go Racers 3-1.
3-1. So another goal for Flamingos. Let's see. They started off Racers on the attack. They've had a chance already, and they're on for it again. Gary Speed puts one just over the bar. Just under 15 minutes in, Giggs with another chance. They're not putting them on target at the moment, not testing Yarstein. Savage has had a chance. Melville with a goal. Andy Melville, 1-0. We all had that in the predictions this week, I believe. Half an hour in, Flamingos not really testing, but they are still. There's a chance. It's just too bright to see. David Partridge has put that on over as well. There's a lot of chances off target for Racers. They could have killed the game off pretty early here, but it's not to be. And a yellow card there for Jocelyn. And just heading towards half-time, Speed had a rebound. Was that Davies with a chance as well at that point? And Craig Bellamy, 2-0 just before half-time. A vital goal. But, they have had 8 shots on target. I didn't think it was that many.
Yeah, I think that's about as one-sided as a half can get, to be honest. And I think they went man for 1-3-2, obviously without knowing what Jamie was going to play. But I think the quality of those 3 across the middle for Racers is just too much for Flamingos to deal with.
Yeah, those wide forwards with the run not quite working out this game. They've only really got into the attack position. What, about 4% of the ball in that area? I think if you look at that.
And interestingly enough, the ball was out of play for nearly 13 minutes. So nearly a third of the game was the ball just kind of out of play.
Plenty of time wasted.
It's weird. Yeah.
We've seen it this season, I think about 27 in a first half at one point, which you just wonder what's going on. Looking into the goals, Andy Melville, I think it was a fierce shot. It wasn't a header, a fierce shot from a Giggs corner. Be lovely if he hit it on the volley. And the goal for Bellamy, Savage with a throw-in, back out from Davies to Savage, and an excellent ball in from Savage to Bellamy. Robbie Savage having a decent game. Here's the Flamingos lineup, and again, Yarstein is the one who's keeping them in the game.
Yeah, and losing that battle in midfield, I think the analysis kind of stops and ends there. I think.
Yes, no key tackles won so far, apart from the goalkeeper. Racers, yeah, dominant on the ball.
Yeah, and getting shots on up top. You know, Davies has had two on there without scoring. Melville's had one on and one on target. Chris Coleman's had one on and one on target. Speedo's just missed the rebound there, I think it was. So you'd think that racers are going to follow with a couple more after half time.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more than that 3-1. We shall wait and see. In fact, we won't wait. We'll get on with it. Here we go to 60 minutes. First of all, Davies had another chance there straight away in the second half. And John Hartson, you back him to score this game, surely, at this time. Giggs puts one over. And substitutes are going to be welcome here for the teams. I think it's a free kick to racers as we come back onto the game. Substitute wise, Estefania is looking tired, and there is the substitute here. It's going to be Des Fioaso coming onto the pitch here. Des is the player that will impress in that position there, and Clayton's not lost a lot of fitness there. Thomas Christensen off for Malmstrom, who does have a decent cross on him. It might make a little bit of a difference. Would you be happy with those changes?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, bang on.
For the racers, Simon Davies, he's just looking a little bit tired. Partridge has a foot injury there. In terms of a left back on the bench, I don't think they've got one.
Is it DMC? Is it DMC Lee Fowler or DML Lee Fowler that he's got? I don't know which one's Welsh and which one's English.
He's the central, but he plays both footed. Yeah. I mean, would you want to put him in at left back?
No, I just know there's another Lee Fowler knocking about DML.
Oh yes, the one in non-league, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's the Coventry one, to my knowledge here. Any changes? Davies off, maybe.
I would go legs in the middle and legs up top. I think Davies for Kumas and Earnshaw for probably Horton, who's been a little bit quiet.
Yeah, Bellamy's got the goal. Let's go for the pacey line there. Partridge does have that potential injury, but there isn't a ready-made replacement at all there for him. Okay. Back into the game. Giggs did put that free kick just wide. And Earnshaw's with chances already. Kumas involved. So both the substitutes working well for them. Flamingos, the subs are doing okay. They've come on, not really noticed anything about what they've done, but they're...
It's been a quiet second half anyway.
Very, very quiet last half hour. Certainly Partridge might have his injury, but he's gone and scored 3-0. And Kumas with a chance of Bellamy puts one in for 4. A very good end for the racers here. They've raced into a great position there. 4-0. Wow. Just the 25 shots.
Yeah, Hopkins will be delighted with that. I think Bellamy must have heard me saying about his 0.68 brother. He wasn't happy with me slagging him off. I think the game was won and lost without seeing the stats. I mean, I know we'll get to them in a second, but I think the quality across that midfield three, I wasn't sure on Giggs playing CM, but you know, his stats and his attributes on the game tell you that he can dominate a game wherever he plays.
Yeah, I think he was very, very involved in that game, wasn't he? Goals obviously came late on. Kumas to Giggs, and then Partridge just picks up a loose ball, right? And then a nice blast into the top corner. Perfect. And Bellamy, it's just a loose one. Yarstein's done his best to save it, but Bellamy's got the loose one after a Jason Kumas chance. So very, very few passes going on. We have seen worse, but it's about... it's Flamingo's just not quite picking it up. Substitutes have come on a 7 and a 6, so they've done okay. But Clayton throwing tackles around everywhere and not quite having the best success for them.
Yeah, and even relative to kind of what you'd expect from a team that have experienced 25 shots, you'd think that, you know, the tackles stats, people would at least trying more tackles than what they have. You know, to get 10 when you've experienced 25 shots is a bit of a letdown, to be honest.
Yeah, they've not thrown themselves at anything, have they, really? Taking a look at this, Giggs, plenty of passes tried. Obviously, we know that one of his passes was pretty dodgy at one point, but it still resulted in a goal. Lots of key passes from Davies and Savage.
Yeah, solid in the middle without being spectacular, and then getting goals from a couple of different people that you probably wouldn't expect. He'll be happy with that.
Melville and Partridge, wonderful. Interesting there, Davies, 6 tackles, no wins. And what a change it was to bring Jason Kumas onto the pitch there. So worked very well for the Racers.
I would have Kumas over Davies, I think. I think Simon Davies is a little bit of a myth. I know a lot of people like him, but I've never really got any joy from him at MC, only ever when I've kind of retrained him as an AMC. I think he's a little bit too lightweight stats-wise to kind of really get involved in MC.
I think he's still living on his 99-2000 reputation.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, mate. I'd agree with that.
Oh, in early on today, game 2.
Oh, the main event.
Game 3. The main event. Yes, so let's have a look at Imaginary Madrid, who, of course, we've seen 1 goal and a few conceded and no points so far. An enforced change with Frank Lampard being injured, that Jordi Cruyff's coming into the middle of midfield. What do you consider your opposition to be like?
A better side than the league table would indicate, I think.
Yes.
And I mean, there's a couple of things for me here, and obviously everybody plays the game in a different way. But I think if you've got the 3 DMs, then you probably don't need to be ultra conservative and have the 3 DCs as well. You can probably get more action either up the pitch with 2 up top, or the 2 in the middle to try and win the ball, or the 3 AMCs if you wanted to go that way. But again, everybody plays the game a different way, and sometimes you have the best team on the pitch and the game just fucks you anyway. But yeah, I would have quite liked to have seen maybe Alan Smith up top with Kesman, or 3 AMCs behind Kesman, rather than kind of being a little bit too conservative. However, having said that, if Ashley Cole and Guys Comendia turn up, there's a lot of gaps in the 4-1-3-2 that I'm playing tonight down the side, so they could end up producing.
So you've identified your own potential limitations here from that. I think that Matt Timms has gone by, having to stick to those rules of playing two out wide and having 3 at the back at least in there, and gone for it that way. I think a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Sorry, mate. Yeah,
I think a lot of people would prefer, as you say, 2 at the back with a situation like this, but just suckers to the rules, aren't they?
You're a fascist, mate. You're an absolute fascist.
And this squad of all players that have been seen by Matt Timms in real life football as well, so a concept.
I like that, and some great players on there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of anyone who's seen Tom Madeira playing football before. So their recent form, just the 1 goal, but it was against Falaraki, who are a decent team. So they've had some tricky games. Racers on that opening game were very, very good. Hulls and Phoenix, and the Wanderers of Wolverhampton, who've surprised early on this season. I think they surprised everyone apart from their manager.
I mean, that's a brutal start. That's a brutal start, yes, fixtures wise. And what I would say to them is, your league table probably says more about who you've played than how you've played. If that makes sense, there's no cannon fodder in there. They're all good sides.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You look at this right the way down. I mean, their easiest game is against, strangely enough, Start, after their difficult start, and then it still continues on with some challenges there. So yeah, no rest for them whatsoever. They just got to hope for a bit of luck amongst their skill that they've got. Yes, and your team, some new contracts have had to be offered. I know you've been brutal with them, but I think that they will be kept on. I obviously like this team. I've got a lot of time for the Belarusians and such like within the game. So explain your thinking behind today's setup.
Looking to get Milewski back into the side. I think the way he's performed has been he's been really good. He's a quality player. I would have him in every champ 23 that I ever created, really. He's comes back in at left back, having done a job at DMC in the place of the suspended Smerton last game. You can't leave Alexi Smerton out as DMC. I think he's up there, maybe not top tier with the likes of Vieira and Davids and Ndaye, but he's definitely kind of that next inside, obviously, yeah. He's definitely that kind of next rung down, that kind of second tier. And again, when a DMC has a quiet game, it's kind of a blessing and a curse depending on the result, because you think the rest of the team have performed well if your DMC isn't having a mop up and put the key tackles in himself. Yeah. And then the three across the middle, Corbin, Mostovoy, and Nikiforenko, all very different players, but all very, very creative and very, very direct. And what I will say, I'm sitting here kind of slagging people off for picking the best players on the game, but having Shevchenko and Segal go up top probably lessens my argument there, although they do tie in with the kind of overall theme. And even the Red Army had some dirty capitalist traitors, so that's why Shevchenko's in there.
Shevchenko with his 3 goals this season, some excellent performances. Sigalko's been quiet, hasn't he, compared to what we might have expected?
And that's unless it's a home save where you're just dominating AI, then he probably does need a season to get going, really, to get the rest of his stats catch up with that kind of finishing stat. But yeah, interestingly enough, Shevchenko has never really done it for me on a home save. This is the best that Shevchenko has ever done for me in 20 years of games, 20 years of playing with the game.
It's definitely an impressive start for him, isn't it? Your games, you've been in every single match. There's no doubt about it that your team has always been there. Big win over the Racers, and you suffered the Falaraki defeat just as your opposition have done today.
Yeah, I think we can be happy with the fact that we haven't really been out of any game. The fact that we've only lost once with some of the sides that are knocking about in this league, and I don't think it's an easy set of fixtures. We should have got over the line against Ewan. No disrespect to him at all, but when you look at the side by side, we should have really got over the line in that game. And I'll blame the host of that evening for not doing substitutes as instructed, but not that we hold any grudges in the Red Army. We're all in it together.
It may have been I think Vasilyuk refused to go on the bench.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'll have words with him then. He's got a date with a rifle tonight then.
It was a lovely colour match, that one. We did enjoy commentating on red versus brown as well. It's fantastic.
Yeah. But I think if we get the win tonight, which hopefully we will, we've got a couple of kind of fixtures relative to the kind of quality in the league, and then we've got Badgers, Hools, and Phoenix, kind of 3 off the bounce who are 3 really good sides. So we kind of need to win the next 2 to just give us a little bit of momentum going into those games.
And the cup match against the wonderfully named Hamar Cameroon, great team name. They were in European Club Soccer on the Mega Drive, this team. Nice. We've got those coming up in the cup soon. We've got Chris Twiddy in their squad, I noticed there.
That's great knowledge, mate.
let's head into the match. It promises to be a good one. Let's hope it keeps its promise at the Theatre of Daydreams. And Shevchenko's put one over straight away. He's involved Milevsky, heavily involved at the very beginning there. He's been booked though, and the pressure is on for him to stay on the pitch now. Sigalko's put one wide. They're just not putting them on target at the moment. It's keeping the opposition well in the game, but the domination on the actual
take these chances. Got to take these chances. They've got too much quality going forward to kind of chuck away chances.
Tradza with a yellow card as well. It's a bit like the Racers game last time, that nobody was taking their chances. And will Madrid come back into it? They're looking a little bit more lively now. Coming up towards half time, the entertaining game is it going to be providing a goal? No. I think I built it up a little bit to be a better game than it might have been so far.
Carlo Codicini's putting in 8. Kind of tells you a lot about that half, but the worry is that imaginary Madrid have got 2 good player, two good quality players going forwards to not put one of their chances away. So we need to take chances. We've dominated.
Yeah, a lot of the play in the opposition third restricted them to very little going on. But you got those 2 bookings so far. Smertin for Madrid, he's looking pretty solid, isn't he?
Yeah, listen, great player. It doesn't matter what incarnation of him you've got. If you're playing, say, on 1 or 2 on the 0.60, for a fact he's going to become available on a buzzy in the January-ish. And it's a bit of a race to get him if you're playing on a network.
And luckily, you've managed to get him as well for your own team. He's not performing quite as well, but maybe it is that he is being a bit quiet.
Yeah, like I said at the start, it's probably a bit more of an indication that Nikiforenko is getting a little bit more of the ball because we are dominating that ball in the final third, and Smerton's just kind of cleaning up behind. But if you don't score, you don't win games.
No, and it's been the case of just scoring more than the opposition's been that little bit tricky for your team so far. But only one defeat. Let's go into the second half. Madrid will be pleased that they're not behind. They're on target for their first point as it stands. Substitution-wise, there are no plans for Imagine Madrid. Are you okay to go into the second half?
Yeah, let's go to 60. I think that's fair enough. I think if this was a home save and I was controlling this team, I'd make changes now. But I think in the interest of fairness, has he got subs in for 60 minutes? Has he?
There are no sub plans for Madrid.
Right. Okay. Let's get to 60 and we'll make subs then.
And the second half has begun with quite a bit going on. I don't know why I didn't say anything, but we've then gone very, very quiet at this point. And a chance for Nikiforenko. It's probably his first shot of the game, isn't it? We'll go to your side first on the substitutes. What are you thinking so far?
I think let's get Sigalko off for Vasiliuk, please.
There he is. He's here now.
And let's get let's go Mostovoy for Titov, please.
And Mostovoy off for Titov. And just to check, Nikiforenko's lacking a bit, but you have taken off two of your three most tired players there.
Yeah, I think we've got to keep him on. Nikiforenko and can pull it out of the bag.
Too influential to lose.
Yeah, the worry is here we get champed and get done 1-0, but you take your chances.
Just to check that there's no one absolutely out of it. There's no one, looking like they're going to come off in a minute. So with the no plans, they continue. Cudicini and now Smertin, the two to watch for Imagine Madrid. And Shevchenko with more chances. If only he could finish it, was very, very true. And I think I said the same about Vasiliuk as well. 15 minutes to go. Joe Cole coming forward, but has been stopped. And Shevchenko has scored. He's made the breakthrough 77 minutes or something like that. It's taken a while. Smertin's taken a yellow card, which I think you'll be quite pleased with the fact that they're breaking up the attacks anyway. And so the last 5 minutes, there's been a chance for Madrid, but they couldn't get it. And Vasiliuk makes a great impact as a substitute for 2-0. Jordi Cruyff makes it 2-1 in a very, very tense last couple of minutes, but a 2-1 win over the line in the end.
Yeah, not great, but not bad either. I think in a league like this where there's so much quality, you've got to stay in games, you've got to be hard to beat, and you've got to try and nick it. And I think more happened in the last 15 than happened for the first 75 really. So yeah, fair enough. We got there in the end. Well done.
To keep up with there. Yeah, good positive result in the end. Still plenty of play going on. They did break a little bit further into your area. 20 minutes with the ball outside of play, or if you count 93 minutes, even more. Yeah, Ivan Campo having to put a lot of tackles in. The defence has performed quite well here for Madrid.
Yeah, like I said, I think he's been, he's had a tough run of fixtures. I think they're a better side than the league table would indicate. I think his strength is through the middle. I'm not convinced that he's got the best options out wide, but he's got a lot of FCs, EMCs, DMCs, MCs that will be good through the middle. And I know that is a little bit of a lottery as to whether it will work if you're playing against another human controlled player in the kind of eyes of the game. But yeah, he'll be all right. Madrid, he'll start picking up points once the fixtures are a little bit kinder to him, I think.
Yeah, very, very strong opposition so far. For your own team, yeah, the impact of the substitutes is certainly Vasiliuk is clear.
Yeah, I mean, fuck you to the Red Army that were questioning me managerial skills beforehand. And if you don't like it, go fuck off over the east of Germany. Do you know what I mean? That's ultimately what I'm saying. Listen, the side full of Belarusians and Russians are going to work hard and hopefully be tough to beat. And you see those 8s from the back 4 plus the DMC. The entire back 4 plus the DMC getting 8s. You're always going to be in a game, but maybe need to have a little bit of a look at those 3 across the midfield and think about how they're getting service to the 2 strikers.
Very, very wise words.
But Nikiforenko with 58 passes there, by the way, and 44 completed. And as a percentage off the top of my head, that's got to be kind of a minimum of 70 odd percent. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's effectively 3/4, isn't it? From what we can see there. Yeah, yes, lots of stuff going on from him. Yeah, all those back players doing a particularly good job, but it does show your team were given a workout and had to earn that victory.
Yeah, and Red Army, what do you expect?
75 minutes there. The goal, not quite. Oh, and attendance. The attendance is probably the first one this season that's dropped under 59,000. So the fans, hopefully the fans aren't turning against them too early, because there is a lot more to come from this side.
Absolutely.
Ewan Rovers halfway up the table and doing a very, very good job for, as we keep saying every time, that team that is formed of Hyde United players +5. They've come up with some excellent results so far, only losing to 2 teams that are in the top part of the table, top 5. Yeah, what do you make of this side so far?
Quietly impressive. And I think when you have a little look at who they've got in there, it's, with the exception of Patrick Vieira and maybe Abstam, it's nothing spectacular. Saviola, you could play 5 saves for Saviola and, you'll turn up for one of them, even though his stats would tell you that he's going to dominate. So yeah, I think it's solid. Hats off to him. He got a point against me when, really it was a fixture. I was looking at getting 3 points. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, very well done. 4 contributions from Blinkhorn, 2 of each, 2 goals and assists. And Saviola with 8 at the moment, with 4 goals, 4 assists for him. Steve Rimmer being impressive at the back. Was completely targeted in one match, and it turned out to be the complete backfire that he scored the opening goal. Yeah, they are a good team and have been performing well. Their last game, that win over Fortuna, with Shellstrom with the goal. Tight games quite a lot of the time, but they are performing a lot better than pre-season predictions and a lot of simulations would have suggested. They're up against Trafford though, and we know what Trafford are capable of. 6th place. Is it representative of their team? Probably not at the moment.
Absolutely not. This team should be top 2, easy. Again, he's really not. He's not going to win an award from the Louvre for creativity or kind of like imagination. But you do what you've got to do to win games. The interesting thing with the Zidane with the kind of left arrow going into AMC. I've never seen it before. And the Sigalco into kind of what would be an FC position is interesting as well. So yeah, he does definitely get creativity for that. I'd be interested to know what his logic is on that, if it's dominated in the home save or if it's just something that he wants to try. But yeah, we couldn't get over the line against them, and they had 10 men for the last 20, I think.
With the Cannavaro red card, obviously he's missing today, but he's been replaced by Nesta.
Yeah, I mean, listen, do you know what I mean? If you're a capitalist pig and you've got those sorts of riches on your bench, then you can't really complain if you get injuries or suspensions, can you?
No, not at all. It's a fantastic team in terms of quality, and the concept of moving everybody very narrow and central is something that is got. I think it's going to work out even more than it is so far this season. Ewan Rovers this game, and Imagine Madrid next game. They'll be looking at trying to pick up 6 points from 2 home games, you'd imagine.
And they should. Let's not beat around the bush. They absolutely should.
And Jon A. Shervold refereeing this game. Let's see what happens now from Gold Trafford.
I'm going to go 4-0 Trafford here, by the way.
We've gone 1-0 already. With a goal from Sigalco. Fantastic start for them. The pressure is on for Ewan now, coming back at the game. So we know they can come back, but can they come back against this sort of team? A penalty and a goal for Sigalco, 2-0. So it does look very much an uphill task now. Halfway through the first half, and it's chances galore at the moment. And Sigalco with a first half hat trick already. Wow. I think you could have done with that yourself as well last game.
I was gonna save a question to kind of 90 minutes really, but what would be really interesting at the end of the season or at various different points is to find out who has got the originals and who is being duplicated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, all of the teams, we've just got towards half time here. Half time, anybody with a player that is duplicated across the league, they've all received a duplicate. And so the original
Right.
Sigalko is still at Dinamo Minsk unless he's been transferred anywhere.
Interesting. I like that. That's good.
Unique players are obviously brought in. So if there
As
is
original. Yeah. I
if
like
there
that.
is a clone for next season, so say someone else wants a Neil Critchley, then the Ewan Rovers are going to be keeping the Neil Critchley, the original, and the clone will be assigned elsewhere.
Yeah, I like that.
Gives me less work to do.
Absolutely.
Only 7 shots and 6 on target. I thought I'd see more. It is dominant.
It is, and it should be. It absolutely should be. And it makes me feel a lot better about kind of keeping them out, really. And I don't think they created a lot against me. But I think, in all fairness to you and Rovers, I think this is probably a match that they've just got to look at and say, you could run this 100 times and 99 times out of 100, Trafford would win. And I've just got to kind of move on to the next ones. I know that sounds ridiculously dismissive, but that's how I would be looking at it.
I think it's certainly one of those things that you've got a point. You've definitely got a point. So Sigalko's got in. It does say he's got above the keeper. You'd imagine it's a header from a Condola ball in, but he could have shoved his feet 100 yards in the air. Who knows? A penalty for a foul from Rimmer, who's taken Sigalko out, and he's put the penalty in himself. And the third goal, 23 minutes. Bit of movement with Veron taking the ball forward, and Sigalko and Zidane playing around, and a nice goal there.
So I obviously questioned the right hand arrow to Sigalko going from ST to FC, and clearly shows he knows what he's doing, because he's been 3 for him and got fuck all for me.
With Trafford, in terms of substitutions, we'll have a look at Ewan in a second in their team. Anyone under 85%, we will be removing Barry Ferguson at half time here. And the logical substitution would be Emerson.
Yeah.
One change there. Ewan Rovers. Patrick Vieira looks like he'll be coming off at half time. That looks like quite an injury that he's picked up there. Yeah, they're not doing too bad. They are winning quite a few tackles.
Yeah, mate, yeah, and 3-1, I think, in terms of like the game. I think 3-0, sorry, in terms of the game is always been a little bit of a dodgy score for me. I think if you score within the first 15, or the opposition scores within the first 15 of that second half, it's kind of like the myth about 2-0 not being comfortable, but the game doesn't like 3-0 then going to 3-1. It then goes a little bit crazy. So if he scores next, I'd back him to get a point, bizarrely.
Yeah, it's certainly, we have seen things happen before in the world. With the game in 4 days' time as well, with Vieira with that injury, it is best to preserve him going forward. So he will come off. In terms of a replacement, is there a ready-made replacement on the bench?
I know none of those players, so I couldn't tell you.
It might be a case of having to move Carl Lorry back. I think that's probably our best option here, that Lorry would move back into that position, and it allows Milligan, who has come on this season. He's been very consistent. He will come on. Milligan for Patrick Vieira, probably a substitute we will see quite a lot in world football over the years. Into the second half. And they are, it's pretty much as we were. They've held out for this opening bit, Trafford. It's gone a bit quieter, but a chance for 4. Emerson's just missed, and the substitutes will happen now. And I know that looking at a second sub here for Trafford, not going for a third. Sigalko is the man to come off after his hat trick. Might as well rest him for the weekend, especially when you've got Shevchenko that is available to come on. Oh, Tomadera is the one who's coming on, of course. Yep, Tomadera for Sigalko.
Again, what Richardsy has as a dirty capitalist. But I quite like kind of one of my things on the game, much to the annoyance of one of my mates who I play a network game up the Danglies. He hates it when I bring players off when they've got a hat trick, because I always like to kind of let them get the applause there, let them get the accreditation they deserve.
coming off for the standing ovation, or keep getting that match ball at the end. He's going to have to come back on the pitch, isn't he, to pick that up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the unfortunate thing for Ewan, really looking at it, is Saviola's performing so badly, but he's got goals this season. He's got 4 goals, 4 assists. I think that he would be the one staying on if he's just as fit as Blinkhorn, to remove Blinkhorn for Hulse.
Yeah, I mean, if it was on paper, yes, but again, like I said, Saviola, he is a tenth of the player he should be based on his stats. But you go ahead and make that submit, because he nearly did.
I think, well, actually, you might have a point that Saviola coming off would preserve him for next game, though. To be honest, they are out of the game. They're not going to come back in half an hour. So Rob Hulse coming on gives that opportunity for Saviola to recover before the weekend. Vieira is recovering, and he's doing the same. So let's see. Condola is certainly certainly having a good game here, and Tomadera has got a goal just after coming on. But they are just starting to appear a little bit more at the bottom in the commentary. Rob Hulse has had a chance, so it's worth bringing him into the fray just to give him a bit more match time. A yellow card there for Nesta, and they're obviously going to win, but they're being given a little bit more of a challenge in these last few minutes. A yellow card for Carl Lorry, and with 5 minutes or so left, we've had more chances, but it's kind of just a little sort of end-to-end little mess about at the moment, and not a lot going on as we finish the game with a solid 4-0.
And a perfect score prediction for Vladimir Lenin. You'll take that. Yeah, well done, Trafford. Quality side from front to back, and it doesn't matter who you've got. You've got to do it on the pitch. Again, like I said, I think Ewan's got to look at that and think, yeah, front to back, we were done for quality all over the pitch, and we've got to kind of take that on the chin, take with medicine, and get on with it.
Yes, yeah, it's there will be some big defeats for teams against Trafford this season. So the goal for Tomadera, 65 minutes. 1-2 Van Nistelrooy, and a nice curler from out wide. So a decent finish there. Very, very dominant in terms of lots of passes spread around the players.
Yeah, and just front to back quality. There's not a lot more you can say of that. Segalgo is the player that you probably want if Zidane is feeding in 50 passes and he's completing 40 of them.
Yeah, yeah. Only one key pass out of those 40 that we completed as well. So
yeah,
he's just doing it. He's doing a solid job there in midfield, and Jai winning his 6 out of 6 tackles, as you'd expect a player like him to be doing. But I mean, look at that: all passes, all tackles, all headers, and all shots, and he's only on an 8.
Yeah, and Patrick Vieira. I think anybody that picks Patrick Vieira for this should automatically lose 5 points at the start of the end of the league table, but he's just absolutely dominant in there, hasn't he? 52 passes, he's made 30 of them, 39 of them, 13 tackles, he's made 8 of them, and he's never lost a header all game. Absolute beast.
Yes. Yeah, he's got a lot of strength about him, and he just holds that team together. UN Rovers, I mean, yeah, we've got Critchley and Stam trying to keep the team going, and Hulse did have that shot on target. Blinkhorn ended up dropping to a 5, but yeah, it's probably one of those games that they can write off and think about winning other games in their.
And I think the wider point about the league is that it's kind of certainly, when I look at the league, I think there's 3 teams that are head and shoulders above the rest on paper, of which Trafford is one. I think they're in a league with themselves. I then think there's probably about 6 sides that are, could beat each other every other save and lose in the other direction. And then there's probably the sides that have kind of went for real creativity without being bothered about how they finish, and they're in a league with themselves. I think that's the beauty of it. And there'll definitely be some banana skins along the way.
Yeah, we've seen 1 or 2 little results this season, haven't we? This is obviously a game that we've been looking forward to on today's fixture list. I think this is one a lot of people have looked to. Hulse, with a record that was just had that blemish from the defeat by East Coast, but again, nothing to be ashamed of there, and some solid wins otherwise.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Jens. I think I say it on just about every stream I go on to. I think I'll be writing him love letters next. He's in there with me in terms of believing that a back four is still the best way to play this game, which I respect, because a lot of people on home saves kind of dominate with two at the back or one at the back. So he's in the four at the back union, which automatically makes him a comrade. But he definitely loses points for kind of some of the names he's got in here. However, all threaded together with the obvious theme, which I like. I mean, who didn't grow up absolutely inspired by Brazilian football? So yeah, fair play to him.
Brazilian football, the odd Spaniard, and Jeremy. So wonderful to see Jeremy getting into the team today. This is all due to the injury to Figo. That means he's out, and also the suspension of Emerson. So it's pushed a couple of players into the starting lineup, and Jeremy makes his place onto the bench. Cafu is going to be offered a new contract right now, live on air. There we are. Takes the contract offer. That's how they're being offered to everybody. Just give them what they want. It does not matter.
Yeah, Cafu could have turned around and said, "I want your missus and your ex-missus at the same time," and he'd give him what he wanted, because he's unreal as a right back.
And Jens, make sure that you message your address to Duggan so that he can send you his letters later on.
Listen, if he just wants to send me them, I'm happy with that as well.
Here we go for Hulls up against the Badgers, who Tato Mourinho. I think a lot of people have a lot of time for him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just been on a Super League chat with him. He's obviously part of the Haggis team. He definitely gets kudos for some of the names he's picked, in terms of not going for perhaps more obvious candidates in terms of big names, but he's it's absolutely littered with heroes on the game, and I think we could be in for a little bit of a score draw, but definite goals. So I'm going to say a 2-2.
If there weren't goals, I'm pretty sure Tato's going to be gutted. He's loves the attack. We know all
absolutely
about
the, but interestingly, he knows his stuff because he's got Davy Collins as an AMC.
So as we head into this game, obviously David Collins starting this season, 5 games, 4 goals. We shall see how we get on. And Vance Warner taking the 24 shirt. So Tor Holland, I think that's his second game refereeing today. He's obviously got limitless stamina. And we'll head into this match. Hulls in their red away kit. I think that's the first time we've seen it in the colours of Norway. It's been a very, very quiet start so far. Very little going on. And the first chance is a yellow card to Frederick Risp. Lucio taking the yellow card as well. So, there's plenty going on with the defenders under pressure. And Javan makes it 1-0 to Badgers. Fantastic performance for them so far. Clausen has taken a yellow card. And halfway through the first half, they are holding on with a 1-0 lead. Chances to get forward, but it's been stopped, and Javan again with a chance coming forward. Half an hour gone, 1-0 the goal from Javan that we've had so far, and it has been a little bit more end-to-end over the time, but I think Tato's going to be happy with how the team have attacked so far all the time. But it's 1-1. Amoroso coming in for Elbert for this game, and he's equalised. And as we come in towards half-time, we have David Collins there getting his 5th goal of the season, 2-1. And Priest has been in inspired form, but is still under pressure. Half-time. Well, it's certainly been a they know they've had a game. Lucio and Hierro are finding it very, very difficult against this Badgers side.
Yeah, I think Badgers would have done well there if they managed to clean sheet over 45, never mind 90. Hulls have got a lot of quality in there, but their centre-half pairings absolutely letting them down at the moment. And Davy Collins is an AMC.
And it's, paying off for him, isn't it? Again, in this very even action areas. Badgers just edging the possession. And there we are, 27 minutes with the ball in play.
It's crazy.
It's
Crazy.
been down in that I think it's been kept in the set. 2 yellow cards early on. Looking into where the goals are, a right foot volley with a ball from Neil Scally. So 2 players who have combined very, very well there for that first goal. The second goal, the equaliser from Amoroso, Ronaldinho pre-saves it and he comes in and follows it up, Amoroso, with the goal. Odds on to score. We know players can miss those very, very easily on here, but a Williams cross and David Collins putting it high and hard into the back of the net. So great for them. And there's not many players breaking the 10 pass barrier, but again, the team are doing exactly what they need to do.
Yeah, and interesting, that if his tactics look as though they're direct there on that, just totally get past the midfield and get it up to the likes of Davy Collins and Mason Yavan, who are going to put the ball in the back of the net the majority of the time. Yavan's had 3 on and 3 shots on target. Collins has had 1 shot on and 1 shot on target. That's the quality that they've both got. And if they get 3 shots between them, they're going to score 1. And Yavan's had 3 himself.
Yeah, and he's performing as you'd expect him to. I think there's been some quiet incarnations of him this season, but this is one where he's now performing. 5 goals each for those 2 forward players as well for Badgers.
Yeah, I think you've got to give Yavan a run. He's one of those players that even if he doesn't score in 6, 7, you've just got to give him a run, because when it clicks, when the database kind of latches onto him, he'll go for it. And Tato's obviously done that. I mean, it's not. You'd look at that, and if you didn't see the end result in terms of scores, that's probably a better performance in terms of passes and tackles and headers. But they've been let down by the centre half pair, and really, I really rate Lucio, but obviously Mason Yavan is sending him for his dinner.
Yeah, they've not won a single tackle here. The defence, Cafu's the only one who's really turned up in defence. Ronaldinho, we have seen the creativity he's been providing this game, but there's very little going on for Hulls, as you'd expect Hulls to do a lot more. I think that's probably disappointing for them, but Badgers will be absolutely delighted. Half-time substitutions. There are no half-time subs planned. 60 minutes, we may well see.
Jens will probably be watching this, delighted that he's still in the game. And
I think
knowing the game and knowing the quality he's got up top, knowing that if he scores next, he's on for probably scoring 2 in very quick succession.
Oh, let's see how that plays out and how Jens will be looking at that when he watches back, seeing did that come true. Here we go. And again, the first 5 minutes of the half have been pretty quiet, and Hulls have come back into it a little bit more, with the only chance of the first 15 minutes of the second half. One just wide there. I thought there was a chance there. As I said, one chance, and then of course as the substitutes happen, there we go. So for the Badgers, it's only an if behind tactic that's going on, as far as I'm aware. So they'll be happy to keep things as they are, won't they?
Yeah, I would have probably went with that, other than the RISP yellow card. But if that's his instructions, that's fair enough.
It tends to be the situations for Tato of attacking subs. Attacking subs is the way forward there. I will just do 100% check that everything is okay there. But if we have a look at Hulls, Hulls have said that if a striker is not performing quite so well, to remove them for Albert. It's 6 or 7, it does say. Amoroso's got the goal. You'd be looking at Ronaldo off for Albert then.
Yeah, I think Ronaldo is one of those players in CMO 1 or 2 that never reaches the levels of probably the greatest striker of all time, kind of out and out striker. So yeah, I would back that. I'll go for Ronaldo.
And that would just be the one sub there, and there is nothing suggested otherwise for Badgers. So, half an hour to go. Will it be a bit more like it was in the first half? I'd like it to be, just for the entertainment value we've had. Ryan Williams is on an absolute stormer there, isn't he, with a 9 so far? Justin Lee Collins with the yellow card. And there's been plenty of those this game. There was the prediction. I think Tato predicted a red card in this match. He said there'd be plenty of cards.
I think you just called him Justin Lee Collins as well, I think.
I did indeed. I hope he's got the hair. He's an equaliser late on for Giovanni Elbert, and the Badgers almost hung on there for it.
Listen. Not that I want to draw attention to it, but that's Vladimir Lenin's second perfect score, bang after one another. He said 2-2. He said if Fools are still in the game, they'll get the next goal. Two back-to-back perfect scores.
I think you did say if they get a goal, they'll be looking at getting two in quick succession.
Yeah, not with the 30 seconds to play.
Yeah, you were hoping for them to extend some injury time. I mean, 6 shots, 6 on target. They're 100% record, and the other team plenty of shots. I think getting to 90 minutes, then Tato will be a little bit disappointed, and he wouldn't have thought his team would be disappointed at the start of the season playing against Hull and getting a draw.
Listen, yeah, absolutely. If he watches that game, he's going to be wounded and he's going to be spitting feathers, but that's CMO 1 or 2. If you had offered them both 2-2 draw before the ball was kicked, they would have both took it.
Ronaldinho, again, the one who's being creative here. He's won a free kick. He's played the free kick in, and Elbert's got the goal. So the substitute worked, and Ronaldinho's performance was reflective of the sort of player that he is. Dida has had to play well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plenty of key tackles won there as well. The Hulls have had a massive game on there, and the defence did improve to winning 8 tackles between the centre backs in the second half. They won the second half and drew the game. Ryan Williams, man of the match.
Yeah, great player again, and I think all of these players on here don't come anywhere near a World 11 at the time, but they've all managed to play 90 minutes against a very good Hull side and be unlucky not to win. But I think Tato will take that. I think.
Yeah, I don't see a way that either team would think, yeah, we definitely deserve to win the game. But looking at it, a good match to watch. Yeah. East Coast and Faliraki. East Coast, our pace setters, drawing their opening game and then winning every game, not hugely comfortably, apart from that Badgers victory. They are a very, very brave team. We know that. And they are a very, very miserly team. Only 2 goals conceded in 5 games. Yeah,
and I think the manager of this team, I think he's great. I've been on a couple of network series with him, and I think he's certainly up there with the managers that I've came across. But he's doing better than you would expect with this team, I would think. Certainly scoring a lot more goals than you'd expect. With what you'd probably refer to now as a bit of a low block with the 3 and then the 2 sitting in front. But yeah, he's a great side. I love Salva. I think Salva's great. I think he often gets overlooked for the likes of Yavan and Tormads and Siggs and Davy Collins. But I think Salva's probably, if you get a good save and you get a good base load up of him, I think he can become an absolute beast.
I've overlooked him for my entire jump manager career. So yeah, he's definitely been brought to my attention through this. An inspired pick for this. The bravery obviously is helpful. That it narrows down the pool of players available, but he's been a star for the team, hasn't he? Really.
And Archie Back as well. Archie Back is great.
Oh yes, we all love a bit of him as well. How's he going for this season? He is 3 goals, 3 assists, and 8.4. Fantastic. 2 perfect 10s as well. So yeah, a very, very good player, an able leader. But Roy Keane, Paulo Montero, there are plenty of players who can lead this team.
Yeah.
Faliraki 99ers, 10th in the league. Probably would have expected a little bit better, but they're having games where nobody's out of it at any point.
Yeah, probably a little unlucky in a couple of those. Did they beat me? I think they beat me. Yeah. I think that was a close game. I think. Probably doesn't know his absolute best formation and best 11 at the minute. I think sometimes if you are a dirty capitalist pig, you can be spoiled by choice, and I think that's maybe what's going on with them. But good squad of players to have. Interesting that there's no arrows. Interesting that there's no
No
arrows.
arrows for this game. Yeah, it was a bit of a difference that's been noticed. The change there, Soroczynski's gone into right back. Was Soroczynski considered for Iron Curtain this season?
He was, mate. Yes, yeah, but his missus was found to be conspiring with the capitalists, so he got off to the gulag.
Oh well, it's unfortunate for him, but I think he may well be the original. He may well be unique in the league.
He's obviously escaped then, hasn't he?
Let's see how we get on. East Coast, who obviously top of the table, and Falaraki, who've never been out of a game. So
5-1 East Coast.
5-1. I love the colours. Loving the colours for this game. I'm happy with that. Should be able to read it pretty well. We've had the Falaraki coming right out of there, the 99ers taking it to East Coast. But chances East Coast looking back in it. A good beer for the stadium, of course. We mentioned this before. Berrijos just put one off target. And halfway through the half, we're not looking like a 5-1 kind of game, but we are looking like the East Coast are getting more into this as it goes along, a little bit more settled. Ronaldinho involved again for Falaraki, but Roy Keane's coming forward, the creative Roy Keane, of course, as Steve Wright likes to talk about. And half-time, it's not the creative Roy Keane, this one, is it? They say that's from Phoenix, but obviously Roy Keane, a quality player. Half-time 0-0. John Terry and Damiano Tomasi, the standout players.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I said 5-1. It's now 20-1 in the morning, and that's not really worth waxing lyrical about. I'll let you take the analysis on that one.
It's almost not worth staying up for so far, is it? The one shot on target, 35 minutes that the ball's been in play but doing nothing with it. And East Coast, as we thought, they're taking the game a bit more to Falaraki, just edging the possession in terms of passes and such like. We've I don't know. There's no key passes going on. John Terry's winning his challenges. He's winning a lot of challenges. But it's not a bad performance from East Coast so far. They're just not making the breakthrough. They're staying as they are for half time. And Falaraki 99ers, they're doing sort of very similar. The players not quite as performing, but they haven't had as much of the ball, as much to do with it. You're thinking that it's going to be goals in the second half?
It's got to be with the players that are on the pitch. But it does look as though, without being spectacular, that lack of arrows for Falaraki has kind of just give them a little bit of solidity. And East Coast are probably for the first time this season struggling to create chances.
It is something, isn't it? We don't see teams without arrows very often, and it is making them, as you say, stable. Oh, as Bonk came through with a chance, I was thinking straight away it was going to be a breakthrough. Montero is the one to score the goal, though. As we, you can't go wrong with Paulo Montero.
This could be the floodgates opening now, I think.
60 minutes. Substitutions are going to be vital in the rest of this game. Two subs to be made for East Coast at this point. Either worst performing players, so there are quite a lot of 7s but no 6s, or players that are low on fitness. Well, Salva is the lowest. He's also on a 7, so he'll come off. And the request there is that Bonk goes up front. So this would it be a Luis Enrique or an Estebaria sub, do you think?
Probably Estebaria.
So Salva off and Bonk up front. And then we are looking, Kili Gonzalez is the next one on lowest condition. So he will come off. And yes, that's Luis Enrique's position there, isn't it?
Yeah.
To come on the left-hand side. Well, not bad to have those players at your disposal when your team is performing pretty well. And now 1-0 up. Falaraki changes for them. If they are losing, take off 2 of the worst performing from the front 4. Collins is the most tired, so he will be withdrawn. And as an attacking midfield, they've got choice of Van der Vaart and Eto'o and Robbie Keane, really.
I would go Robbie Keane.
We're keen to see him performing. And yeah, all of the players, Ronaldinho will stay on. So it's looking at to Robin or Sigalko. Robin 84, Sigalko 83. I don't think there's much difference between them. Who would you keep on?
Just because of how overpowered he is on the game, I'd keep Sigalko on, and with Robin playing on the right of a front three and not the left, I'd probably take him off for Eto'o.
Yeah, Eto'o, I think he's he's not making his debut. I thought he was. It's actually a third appearance of the season. Not bad substitutes either. So we're looking at a really tense final half hour, I think, now. I say tense, waiting for something to happen. As Barijo's had a chance and a good save from Sebastian Frey. 15 minutes, just approaching 15 minutes to go now. Robbie Keane's had a chance after coming on.
You'd fancy Falaraki to pop up with an equaliser here, the way the games went. It's been
They're
very
coming
quiet.
Into it quite a lot more, aren't they? Yeah, as the sporadic chances that we're getting, they're getting more of them. They've had another chance. Nick Matulin's involved, but Monk scored and Montero comes off injured. I think Martin Keown made way for Montero for this game, so he will slot back in. Montero will be a loss if he's out for any significant period of time. He has a foot injury, one that leaves him at 53%. It's one of those where it's hard to tell, isn't it? You know, it's still on, still intact, but there's something wrong. The second goal probably killed them off a little bit. Will they get a goal? They've been in and around every single match, but no goals. East Coast keeping their lead at the top of the league, and a real change in the second half to a very solid performance to a very average performance.
It's going to be hard, if not almost impossible, to keep out teams like East Coast across 90 minutes. I said it in an earlier game. If they've had 4 shots on target but they score 2, it kind of tells you the quality that they've got. Again, a little bit like Ewan, although not to the same extent, because you've got a much better kind of squad about it. I wouldn't be too disheartened about that if I was Falaraki manager.
No.
Just probably needs to get that AMC combination set. I'm not too convinced by the AMCs he kind of had in there. But yeah, he'll follow right. He'll be all right. He'll be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. Maybe not in that top 3 teams who are head and shoulders above the rest, but he'll definitely be in the kind of top 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, I think Champino with he's just got to find that tactic that works for him. There's been a few formation changes this season, and I think once he gets something that it's going to things will start working out for them.
It's Falaraki Champino's team, is it?
Yeah, it is.
I've changed my prediction and hope he finishes bottom, because he's always given me shit about being a Liverpool fan. So he's crack having to go to Liverpool every single subject, no matter what comes up in world football. Is funny. I'm only messing.
We'll have a look at Nick Matulin's played well. Roy Keane leading by example. Tomasi, defensive midfielders have done well. That guy in defence has done quite well as well. Got himself a 9. Very, very good performance in the end. First half a bit shaky. Second half a different team. They looked like they were going to, be
the type of performance you need to put out if you're going to win leagues. Simple as.
Only the brave put in a performance like that in the second half when you've had that.
We paid to say that, yeah.
Yeah, whichever. Which manufacturer is it that says that? I think. I'd have to say all brave, aren't we? If I was going to be paid to say that one. Yeah. Joe Cole had a shocker.
Yeah. Again, it's the EMCs. Has he got the right EMCs in there? Or is they're all very similar and they're all a little bit lightweight? Is it better to kind of have a little bit more solidity against the big teams in the DMC and MC rule, and then kind of take your chances when they come? Because the EMCs have been nowhere in that game really for Falaraki.
Yeah, Cole was in the very middle of the pitch, wasn't he, as the lone centre midfielder, and I don't think he's worked out for him this game, but over the season he's actually played quite well. So
Yeah, I love Joe
swings
Cole on
and
this.
roundabouts.
He's one of my favourite players. I think Joe Cole on CMO 1 or 2 original database is absolute fire.
Brilliant. He will come. He will come good this season. You'd imagine. Yep, a good win for the leaders. We have 2 games to go, and it's Let's Go Lunwell versus the Wanderers of Wolverhampton. These 2 teams, Lunwell at times this season, they've been a bit overpowered, but they've come back into it recently with a draw followed by 2 victories and have really turned their early season form around. They are looking solid for the squad that they have.
Yeah, and at this stage of the season, if you put 2 back-to-back wins together, you're going to jump up that league table because there's not much between teams. And again, Archie back, Mason Yavan, I like that combination up top. Bobby Petter is someone who I think's massively underrated on this game, although I like him as a DML, even though he's an AML. It'd be interesting to see if he can repeat Giggs' performance for the Racers from that MC position.
Yeah, I think was Petter the winning goal scorer last time out? Yeah, he was. He got the 80th minute winner against Falaraki, who we've just seen. No pushovers themselves. Yeah, it's very solid. Eka Kanga has been performing. Yeah, obviously the 6 last time out wasn't fantastic, but he's a decent player within here. I've been paid to mention Chris Marsh and how good he is with things. I've never seen him in the game, so I can't pass a comment, but I do know he is a bit of a Walsall favourite. Yeah, it is a good squad with a little Walsall connection to it, and a good set of performances recently. And they're up against the Wanderers of Wolverhampton, who feature the odd Wolverhampton Wanderers player, and they've had some very, very solid performances this season, including that 5-0 win last time out against the Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think love the theme. Obviously, barring a couple, and I think they're probably performing a lot better than we expected. And that's kind of credit. And I think he's changed it up a couple of times. I don't think he's stuck with the same tactic. You'll be able to correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it was this setup for the first few games, and then last game it's been moved back. Roy Keane played, but he's on his 2nd suspension of the season after picking up 3 yellows and a red in his first 4 matches that he's played.
Yeah, I think I think anybody that knows what they're talking about knows that DMC position is probably the most overpowered position on the CMO 1 or 2 game. So you've got to have a DMC in there.
And the run DMC would be even stronger, in my opinion. But I'm the one who loses every game. Scally's dropped into there for Roy Keane this time, and it's the opening game this season for Darren Anderton, who hasn't passed on a sick note to us today. He will start. The substitutes. It's very rare to see a substitute instruction from Andrew Richards, but he has written one in today because of Darren Anderton being in the squad. And there is an interesting substitute planned for 60 minutes. And I do believe this is regardless of what on it. It's if there's not been 2 goals from I've been calling him Javan all the time, but you are right, it's definitely Javan. I'm going to call him Javan from now on. So yeah,
I credit Rocks with discovering Javan. So I think we've got to go with his pronunciation, which is Yavan. But I say Javan.
Either, it does make more sense with the J in most languages is not a J, is it? So yeah, I'm going to go along with that. I'm the one who says I carry a bonk, so I should really try and get other players right, shouldn't I, as well? There was no captain pick, I don't think, because Roy Keane is out. I can't see. Captain Scally. Captain Scally is definitely in. I did speak about this earlier on, yeah. So I need to make sure that's in there. There we go. Eric Sonnenholt refereeing this game. I don't think I've seen him this season so far. How will he do?
Wanderers 3-1.
Keeping up their early season form. We've had a chance for Yavin already. Not scoring as many goals with his new pronunciation, but he's always going to be there and thereabouts. Bobby Petter involved already. and Ekiog's had a chance. It's players from all around the pitch getting involved. Both goalkeepers. I mean, Pellizzoli's clearly playing well so far. Kiotis is now starting to come into his own as well. Darren Anderson with a yellow card, so liability there. Robin,
There we go.
the opening goal, 33 minutes or so into this match. He will be pleased to get in front. Cassano has equalised from his central midfield role. The one that's a bit understated for him at the moment. We'll have a little look at him at half time. As we come into half time, Yavin has made the difference at the break. Well, we've had some decent action.
Yeah, definitely good half. Longwell scored and got themselves back into it. They've got enough quality in there to still be in this game and still feel they can come out with something. But again, Wanderers great form the last couple of days and look set to continue.
Yeah, they've been that 5-0 the other day. They're scoring plenty of goals, aren't they? Very, very even. Although Longwell have been edging the possession and ball in play just over the half-hour mark this time round. Cassano in this central midfield roles. Some of the pundits, commentators have come up with a bit of, surprise, criticism or whatever. But I mean, he's been doing all right in that position this season. He's different for Cassano, but Robbie must have seen something about how Cassano does there, and he's got his goal.
I think on the game, kind of FC, AMC, MC, with the exception of a couple who dominate. I think if they've got key stats in key areas, I don't think there's much difference between AMC, AML, AMR, and MC really. Bar the odd couple, and bar the people at the very top. I mean, Cassano, he's creative enough. He's got enough flair. He's got enough kind of passing stats to do something. And he's got surprisingly good stamina, determination for somebody that was always a little bit of a wonder out of a player. Could go 90 minutes without touching the ball and then score the winner with a bit of magic.
Yeah, we all know. I mean, he must have retired about 4 times in the latter years of his career as well. So, not always the one who sticks around too much, but he's doing that, tackling a little bit low for that position maybe, but clearly it's working out for him. What a difference. Rustico, 19 passes out of 19, and Ekakanga, 9 out of 7. I don't think I've seen anything that poor from a player at half time.
Yeah, can only get better.
It can. He will probably be the one that at 60 minutes he may well be removed. He's just looking a little bit off the pace compared to his teammates. But Robbie said to follow the Stackington substitutes at half time. I'm reluctant to sub him at half time. I'm more of a 60-minute kind of tinkerman. For the Wanderers, I mean, there's lots of bit of a theme here: 14, 14, 13, 13, 10, 10, 10, 11. Very, very consistent amongst these players. Scally not as involved, but this is probably you saying about defensive mid. If they're a bit out of it, the rest of the team are doing something.
Yeah, and reflected by the forward players being scored higher than he is really.
Most involved player, Darren Anderton, and the best players. Well, the best players apart from your goalkeeper, you got Duff, you have and Robin. Players who will always perform. And Dave Barnett lacking a little bit for this game, but I mean the defence just haven't been tested as much. Maybe 60 minutes we go to for this. Gary Neville involved in Ekakanga. Well, he's passed the ball into the net. There we go, and he scored again.
Oh, wow!
Well, things can only get better.
They can
absolutely. What a turnaround for him! That half-time team talk from us. Never mind, Robbie has made the difference there. Wow. I think at half-time, Robbie may be going, "Come on, sub him. He's not worth it." And wow, what a change!
Yeah, I mean, I know he's got a sub in regardless, but I think you on hindsight, he's probably screaming at the screen saying, "Stay as is."
Well, I don't know because he said follow the Stackington substitutes, and at this point, I'm going to see if there's anyone not performing because he's an 84. He's not far off. Ilola's doing okay. You wouldn't take off a centre back. Do they need fresh legs? Substitute wise, Youngberg is probably the only one who can really change the game.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they're ahead, I would have maybe been tempted to go Risp
Let's have a look.
for
The thigh
Iola. I don't
injury.
know.
I think thigh injury at this point,
Mm,
you don't want to risk it. If we're going to make a sub that means there's pace
yeah,
for the last half hour, Freddie
yeah.
Ljungberg is probably the man. He's been, if we compare him to Langley, Ljungberg's had 3 starts and Langley's had 2. And it's one of those attacking players. So Ljungberg is going to come off Rekaganga. They've been a bit interchangeable on starts. So let's go with that for them, just to save Ekakanga for the next match as well with that potential injury. We don't want him to be out for a while. And the Wanderers, well, they have said 2 things here. I mean, Robin, the general rule from Andrew Richards is leave them on until they die. So we won't be doing anything injury-wise with that unless it was Darren Anderton, which isn't. So the one substitute that happens, if he hasn't scored 2 or more goals, and this might backfire for him, but we're going to see Yavin being taken off for Antonio Fortes, the 64-year-old. So he comes on to make his league debut at 64. The right side is forward.
Things can only get better.
With is he going to put in a Ekakanga second half performance? We shall see. 3-2 down.
Player of the week at this rate, Kanga, I think.
He's made a difference, hasn't he? And the more chances that come in, the more it is for Lumwell. 4-2, and Bonk has a goal. They'll be very, very pleased with how this is going for them. Moving.
This is a massive, massive result for them.
I wonder if it'll take them top half. Robin has a chance, and nothing happening for the Wanderers at the end. I mean, Fortes, has he managed to keep himself over 50%? 87 at the end of the game. Yeah, we'll go into the match stats straight away. Lots of accurate shooting.
Yeah, that reeks of a 1-1 or a 2-2, not a 4-2. The Lumwell will be absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, fantastic performance for them. They've had less of the ball in the opposition third than the Wanderers, but they've done a cracking job to finish that off. And Ekakanga, what a second half that was for him. Only completed 2 passes, and that's the number of shots and goals he had.
Player of the week, standout performance tonight by a mile.
Stood out in the first half in completely the wrong way, and then totally turned it around. Yeah, Robbie's got to be happy with that and preserving him from taking any other injury for next game, and still going on scoring another goal at that point. Brilliant for them. And for Wanderers, I mean, Scally is only 50-50 on his tackling, and I think that might have made a bit of a difference.
Yeah, and he'll be fuming. 2-1 up. He would have thought, he would have probably thought, yeah, we'll get the third and we'll wrap it up. But didn't come out for the second half, really, did they?
No, I think Dave Barnett stood in the changing rooms. Possibly he's not done anything really in there. Duff, again, as you'd expect, a great performance, but Pellizzoli has fallen apart in the second half. And to me, quite often, Pellizzoli isn't the goalkeeper that his attributes suggest he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see going into our final match, which was a ghost game. Hopefully it's still going to be there. We do have Fortuna Deflection. Both teams have been selected, haven't they? We've spoken about them both. So we can go into the game. Phoenix. There we are. You predicted, what was the prediction for this game?
4-2 Phoenix.
4-2. There we are. Right. Frode Van refereeing the match here. Let's see what happens at the Wankdorf. A yellow card already for Jurgen Kohler really early on in the game. Alan Shearer disallowed for the opening goal. And David Collins has had a chance. It's been saved by Khan. And a goal this time, Batistuta has come forward and scored. It's been end-to-end, but the finishing is clearly stronger for Phoenix as Jacques has put one inexplicably off target. Yavin's had a chance. And it's just black, yellow all the time at the bottom of the screen. Quite hard to keep up with this game, as a goal for Rui Costa makes it 2-0. David Collins horribly wide, it says there about things. And half time, the team have not turned up for Fortuna, and Phoenix looking every bit the stronger side.
Yeah, and
without the shots.
Ibrahim Saeed having an absolute stinker. And when someone in his position and as good as he is, when he rolls in a 5, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, the game's going through him, isn't it? When it's coming forward. 5 shots, 3 on target, 2 shots for Phoenix. Absolutely clinical. It's not a typical David Day performance today. Ball in play plenty. Fortuna outdoing them on possession, but Phoenix outdoing them on actual quality of what they've done with the ball when they've had it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, it's probably one of them where he's probably looking at this thinking, I'm only 2-0 down. If I score next, I'm right back into it. A bit like Alumwell, there should have really been more than 2-1 down at half time. If he can score next, he's still in this. He's still got quality players on the pitch with Yavan and Collins and Augie back.
Yeah, there's plenty for them. If we take a look at Phoenix, they've got some good first half performances.
Yeah, and the midfield is really doing a job of getting the ball to people in the right places, really. Batistutas took the chance he had. Costa's taking the only chance he had, but they haven't really created much. But the midfield, it looks really strong for Phoenix. It looks really, really strong.
It's Desai has moved into midfield for this game as well, and it seems like he's making a difference for them. Sub-wise, at this point, there's nobody who's really suffering with anything. Performances, I think it's a 60-minute for this one for both teams on here. No real injuries there, is there? No, we're good to continue. It's been a strong start for Fortuna to the half. They've come out buzzing. They've come out going for it, but it's an own goal that makes it 3-0.
This could get a little bit harsh, I think.
This could get a little bit. 4 with Batistuta getting his second goal of the game, and it is a bit of a kicking for Fortuna at the moment. They'll be looking at making some changes to keep going for next time. David Day's coming off with his 3. He'll be withdrawn at this point, and Kiotis comes on, and it'll be, Nicky Franco with a knee injury at this point when you're that far down. We've got Collins and Jacques. I think would you be wanting to keep the players safe for the next game, the 2 that matter more?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's gone. I think it doesn't matter if he loses 4-0 or 7-0 now.
And so if we're taking off a centre midfielder here, this would be a...
Yeah, I think you've got to get Nicky Franco off. Sometimes if his fitness drops below kind of 75-ish, he can sometimes be made of plastic.
David Collins off at this point would be an Estevez change there, and looking at for the team just preserving some kind of pride of not going down too much. But David Day with 3 after his great performances this season so far. For Phoenix, there's no one hugely suffering at this point. Fresh legs.
If he hasn't gave you instructions, I would say keep as is, because I think
it's always the manage. Yeah, substitutes are always managed from Phoenix. They have a game in 4 days, so it's just a case of does anyone come off as protection for them?
I think there's a chance to get a real positive goal difference. I wouldn't change
leave as is.
Yeah, I would.
You go ahead with.
Sorry, Ryan, if anybody gets a kind of killer injury, but I think there's a chance for a good 6 or 7-0 here. I did think Fortuna would at least get 1.
Well, you need them to score 2, don't you, to get another prediction at this point, and they are performing that bit better. Estevez pulled one back for 4-1, and he's your Mystic Meg work doing a good job here today. I think it's not too bad. They'll be happier with the performance since the substitutes. 4-1, the full-time score. Yeah, it is a beating. Fortuna expected to lose in a kind of, if we get anything out of this, it'll be all right. But 4-1 is respectable.
It is, and to be fair to Ryan, he's probably looking at that thinking it should have been more. He hasn't really created as much as the text would indicate. Certainly, it felt like Phoenix were absolutely dominant, but the stats don't reflect that. So it's an interesting one, that one.
Yeah, it is, especially only having 4 shots. So they have one shot hasn't gone in, as there's been an own goal. At least is what we noticed on that. We needed to check who scored the own goal. It was Jurgen Kohler, so he'd be booked and scored an own goal. But still, Jurgen Kohler is far and away the best defender in the squad.
Yeah, and again, Fortuna, like you said, weren't expecting to get anything from this. You've got to just take your medicine when you play a team as good as Phoenix are front or back, and just say, yeah, we move on and we try to beat the teams around us.
And with a game coming up soon for them, 4 days' time, we'll have a look at what fixture it is coming up. They need a change of Fortuna, don't they, at this point? Kiotis, he may have made a save. I imagine that they didn't make a single thing during that game. Very, very good for Phoenix. They've got a few players who are a little bit off fitness, but no potential injuries that I'm aware of. Very solid. Everyone passing the ball. Everyone getting involved in every dimension, really.
Weird that it's Shearer kind of pulling the strings in terms of the passing there, really. It's strange.
Yeah, winning lots of headers, plenty of passes. The main passer of the game and the key passes.
I wonder if he's got him kind of holding up the ball, or
it would be purely based on what the tactic is, isn't it? So on here, everyone who's playing that formation would have the same thing here. Does he have hold at the ball? No one on hold at the ball. Yeah, I mean, good work for Phoenix. It gets them back up where they belong. And there we have the results. We should get someone to come in and read the classified results, shouldn't we? Every week it'd be Alan Lambourne or whatever should come in from Soccer Saturday. Yeah, solid. Lots of 4s, 2s, and nobody scored 3. Let's see how that affects the league table. If you wanted to look at those results any longer, you can pause it. So East Coast have a 3-point cushion over 4 teams: Phoenix, Trafford, Hulls, and Badgers, who are separated by, we're looking at 12 and 7 goals between them in terms of goal differences. It's cracking. It's really, I mean, East Coast are leading the way as a team that are really good in defence and are just doing what they need to do every single time. But then behind that, there's a real battle going on.
There is, mate, yeah. And I think it'll be interesting to see who pulls away once people get a good idea of settled 11s and settled tactics. I think there's still a few teams that aren't quite sure. And I mentioned it in an earlier game that maybe they do have a little bit too much riches to kind of choose from. But I think probably East Coast, Phoenix, Trafford and Hulls will probably pull away, and then there'll be the rest, which Badgers will probably Badgers will probably dominate out the rest of those sides. But I certainly think East Coast, Trafford, Hulls, and who was the other one?
Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah. I think there'll be those 4, and then the rest.
Yeah, I think Tato's certainly hoping that his Badgers side keep in that top 4 for as long as possible, and they do have a chance with the way that they've been going on so far. Down at the bottom, we've got nothing going on still on the points tallies for Madrid and Flamingos. Be interested to find out when they do play each other, and if it's possible for both teams to lose.
Yeah, but 2 wins, and 2 wins, and then everything changes for them. Two wins
in, doesn't it? Yeah.
There's a team sucked in, really. So it's still early doors. I think until the table is 10, 12 games deep, you cannot really make any assessments other than the top teams. But yeah, mate, listen, hats off to you. Like the concept's great. People involved are absolutely loving it. And I think it genuinely offers something different in terms of kind of streaming and in terms of content. So yeah, hats off to you, mate.
Well, it's Thank you very much. But yeah, it's certainly down to the involvement of everyone who takes part as well. There's nobody who's sitting back and letting this go by. Everyone's really involved, which is fantastic. I know we started the day with Trafford versus Ewan as a 6th and 7th place match, didn't we? And we actually finished off with Lunwell beating Wanderers, who are now 6th and 7th in the table. So a little bit of statistical nonsense for you there. Looking into the next round of fixtures. I don't know why I'm not ended up with this after doing the goal scorers and such like, but we see Falaraki versus Flamingos and Trafford versus Imagine Madrid. It just doesn't get any easier for them, does it? At the bottom with their Trafford at home to Imagine Madrid. You've got Lunwell next time in what is shaping up to be a really good mid-table battle.
Yeah, I think we've got to be looking at that as a game we should be winning at home, really, when you compare the two sides on paper. And I think, barring an Ekanga masterclass tonight, he probably would have got away with nothing or a point. So to be fair to him, that's a great result to build a little bit of momentum coming to the Kremlin, and we'll see how he gets on.
Indeed. I mean, the game that involves the highest up teams, we've got 1st versus 6th. Wanderers Wolverhampton host the East Coast in that game. So that'll be a real test of Andrew Richards. And can Dimble's team just continue what they're doing as we go through this season? Into the player stats, we've got Elbert, now the top player in the league on his own. Shevchenko, Scally, Bonk, and Yavin of the Badgers up there. All the big teams. And Shevchenko, you got to be delighted with how he's doing for you.
Yeah, like I said, he's not a player that I've had much success with on home saves or network saves, so he's saved it for the Red Army.
As indeed, and Yavin's 8. If that substitute wasn't just fixed in for Yavin, he could have got another goal maybe against the Lunwell, made it an even harder game. But Fortesh came on, got his game. Ekakanga on 3 goals there, just outside the top 10. So you can see 2 Yavins between them are in the top 5 with 13 goals. So fantastic to see him up there. Penalties, Junior and Sigalko now has got his 2nd penalty of the season in today's round of games. The assists, Mostovoy. I think he was up there before this game on his 5. 2 Neil Scally.
He missed the last one as well. He missed the last game. Didn't play the last game.
Oh, yes, yeah. He came on as a sub in the second half, I think, didn't he? I think for that one, yeah. He's obviously a real talent, isn't he? Blinkhorn there with 2. Saviola with 4 for Ewan Rovers. Yellow cards. Roy Keane couldn't get one this game, but still leads the table. He's had 2 suspensions already. It's very keen, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Smertina Milevsky. So I would imagine that Milevsky's got a ban coming up now for next match. Smertina will be working his way towards another one. Red cards. We didn't get any today. I don't remember seeing a red card during the matches. Man of the matches, no one ahead of 2, but Ekakanga is up there. He's certainly been that star player according to you for the day. Have we got a team of the week now? We're in midweek. Nope. No. Just didn't get one last time round. So we shall leave you with the fixtures on here. Thank you very much, Doug, and it's been excellent to have you on the show.
No, cheers for having us on, mate. We've obviously been playing this game for kind of 20 years, and we'll probably be playing it for another 20 years or 200 years. But remember that no matter who you are and who you play, in the end, communism wins, and up the fucking Danglies.
Danglies will be on tomorrow night's show, Division 2. So make sure you tune into that if you have nothing better to do. I've been Champ Megahorse, and we'll see you again next time.